Popel's Backyard Farm. In one of our later videos, you saw me cutting up vegetables for our mixed vegetable mix. All right, we put some carrots in there, some green beans, and some cauliflower. And I put, you can see closer, there's a hot pepper in each one of them. And those are from the hot peppers that we hung. And I put one in each one of the jars. And I marked them hot mix because we only got 7 out of 2 nice round heads of cauliflower. We got 7 quarts with some mixed vegetables with them. And as you can see, this one's got a gap of vegetables, but so did all these. Once the vegetables start soaking up that liquid, they'll fill the jars up. But what you do is you fill the jars and pack them down in, but leave the vegetables about this far from the top, because you want your vegetables be underneath the liquid, and you want to keep your liquid about probably a ½ an inch below the rim of the jar. Now, if none of you have done any canning, I say we cheat. We don't cheat. It's not cheating. But we use the Mrs. Wages dill pickle brine, and we'll add the hot peppers to make it hotter. There's several different Mrs. Wages you can use, but we just go ahead and use the dill pickle because it gives us that much more flavor in the mix. And all Mrs. Wages gives you all the spices. All it calls for is water and vinegar and a package of Mrs. Wages. So all your dill flavoring in it is already in this stuff. You just put it in a kettle. I use 2 packs, and it ended up giving us the 7 quarts plus 1.5 quarts of just brine, which would probably gave us 10 quarts of mixed vegetables if I'd have had the vegetables to do it. We've got to pick up some more cauliflower. Hopefully they're at the auction Tuesday or on our way to Auburn, where there's a couple of farmers out there we call the boys, and they sell some beautiful heads of cauliflower. And we love the hot pickled cauliflower, and we're just going to make some more. But that's just one thing. If you get the Mrs. Wages, the only thing you have to use is vinegar, white vinegar, and water. And the rest is up to your imagination. There's also a clove of crushed garlic in each one of these. So they're garlic dill pickles, and with the hot peppers, they make them garlic hot pickles. So that was yesterday's project. Today's project is the Squeeze-O strainer. Now this is where we're going to put the grapes and get the juice out of the grapes and take the skins off the grapes, which you can see we've got a lot of grapes to work with. There's 3 kettles of grapes. She sorted through a lot of them, got rid of the green ones and some of the ones with a lot of stems and that in there. So we've got to rinse off the Squeeze-O and squeeze all these grapes. Now, we're not going to use the grape juice for drinking or for making wine or any of that. We're going to use the grape juice to make grape jelly. But we don't have time today to make the jelly. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the juice out of these grapes, put them in a gallon jug, and keep the jug about this far from the top with airspace, because once water or juice freezes, it expands, and we don't want it to split the jug. We want it to expand into the top of the jug and not cause any problems. So this winter, when it gets nice and cold and Ruthie wants to make jelly, we just have to take the frozen juice out of the freezer and make up our jelly. So we just wanted to show you just a couple of things that we do in the fall. This is part of our harvest. We showed you the harvest of our hazelnuts, and we showed you the harvest of our grapes. And as the colder weather comes, that's when we put all these grapes in the freezer until it was time to do this. And we've been, probably a week and a half, 2 weeks since we picked all these grapes. So the weather's getting colder outside, and now we can concentrate on some of the inside harvesting. There's a lot of things you can't do later in the season. Say you're going to put up tomatoes or something, you have to do that right away. And we've still got a few tomatoes we've got to do yet. So I got to cut the cores out and put those in the freezer so that when it gets nice and cold out, we take the kettles and make up a nice vat of chili, and then we'll put the chili in jars and pressure cook those for a little while so that we have chili for the winter too. We do the same thing when we're making lasagna. We'll get all the fixings for lasagna. We'll make several lasagnas all in one setting, because it's just as easy to make 7 as it is to make 1. And we'll freeze the ones we don't use. And we'll also do the same thing with our stuffing for our turkeys and stuff. We'll take and make up a big vat of stuffing with my mother's recipe, and we'll put them in little bread pans, and we'll put the bread pans, after they're filled with dressing, uncooked dressing, put those in a bread pan and put those into a gallon Ziploc, and we'll also freeze those so that when we decide to have turkey, which we should have quite a bit of from our freezer camp this winter, we could pull out a thing of dressing, pop both in the oven, and go watch a movie while things are baking, and we don't have all the mess of trying to cook a Thanksgiving dinner or something all in one shot. We could take say a thigh and a breast out with a thing of dressing, pull out a can of corn and a small jar of gravy, or make our own gravy out of after the turkey's done, and have a quiet, fresh Thanksgiving dinner without having the mess of cooking a big monster turkey for just the two of us. So we do things in bulk so that we don't have to work so hard during the winter when we're tired or we're working on things on the inside. If we decided we'd like a nice hot bowl of chili on a really cold night, all she has to do is take a jar of the chili out that we made maybe a month or two before that, heat it up, and we could be eating chili in 20 minutes instead of cooking down a big pan of chili for one night setting, and still have leftover chili with all the rest of the jars you have in your cabinets. Okay, I just want to share that. I don't want to go crazy on telling you all the stuff you can do, but just remember that big or small, you can be a backyard farmer too. Hope this helped you, and once we get doing the squeezing of the grapes, we'll do a video on that and you can see that too. All right, bye-bye.